19 after 7 o'clock. Now, Shout has joined forces with well-known visual artist Johan Adams to develop libraries in the country's poorest communities. To date, 10 such libraries have been installed. Through this collaboration, 3 inspiring sculptures of Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela have also been created by Adams using the most common pen that used in most schools. Some of us use it even during the days of Bantu education. The yellow big pen. The pen, relatable to every child, of course, speak to the values of literacy, numeracy, and education. Well, Adams is joining us here this morning. Morning, John. And,
Hi,
and welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, let's start with those big pens. Tell us about that project, because I understand it took quite a lot of pens for you to come up with those sculptures.
Yeah, so myself and Shout got together and we tried to figure out what we can use to bring about the legacy of Mandela and the importance of education to fight crime within South Africa. So we came together and we decided to use those 80,000 pens, 70,000 pens over the course of 3 sculptures, and in so doing raise awareness of the importance of education. And it took about 6.5 liters of glue and roughly 5.5 months of work.
And it's only the yellow big pens that you use?
Only the yellow big pens, the front and back of them.
The front and back of
yes.
them. And you join them and over time.
You glue them together, you have an armature inside, and then you stick them together,
Yeah, and what kind of sculptures? If you can just paint an image for our viewers.
So one is the iconic one of Mandela's right hand up.
Yeah.
And the other one is a portrait of him, and the other one is a contribution box, which has his quote that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So as you put the pens in, the words come to life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So very good. I want to see those kind of things. But it's all for a good cause, of course, for the library.
Yes.
That you brought something with you.
Yes. This is the mock-up of the library and the design of it. The colors may change, but there's 10 libraries so far that have been put in place. And the great thing about these libraries is that it's in the most destitute areas. The poorest of the poor have access to this, and it's all within the range of a school. So school is tied to these libraries. So there's accountability, which is important and all the kids, they track the kids and their process and their progress in their literacy and numeracy. So
you're using your art and whatever you're putting together to then raise the funds to build this kind of thing, and that's placed in the poorest of the areas.
Yeah.
Now, the books that go in here, where do they come from? Into the library? Are you not part of that? But do you understand how the library gets filled up with books?
Yes, there's a few organizations that we work in tandem with that help us with these books. And also the great thing about these books is we know kids are a bit hard-wearing on books, and the books get flushed out and new ones get put in all the time, just to keep everything fresh and new and crisp.
Yeah. Why did you decide to be part of this project?
I've been working with Shout for about 7 years. I'm a performance painter too, and I've always wanted to create something that points in this direction of education. So before, Shout's main goal was anti-crime and anti-violence, but it has switched now to education, to work in tandem with those two.
So now it's really, this project particularly is really simple. It's about focusing on improving the literacy of children.
Literacy, numeracy, and the great thing about literacy and numeracy and education itself is that kids find their purpose when they establish themselves in these fields. When you get educated, you find out who you really are, and when that happens, crime and violence is no longer an option.
Yeah. Have you been on the ground yourself sometimes when the libraries go, and what kind of response and reaction are you getting from the children who come there and the communities around there?
Well, you know, the great thing about it is to see the change in the child. That's important. To see that heart has now been opened, that hardness or the defense is now dropped, and they're now open, and they're waiting to step into a new world. And that is very touching, you know. Yeah,
I read that it's about 7 million rand has been raised so far to build about 10 libraries. Yeah. Is the goal your goal in Shout and your involvement to go beyond this number?
We are trying to get in as many libraries across the country. We've got libraries that's presently being built for another location. And just when you see the library out in Alex or the library out in Mitchell's Plain, and you see those kids, you realize that the impoverished areas really need more of this kind of building. So that is why we're looking to partner with as many people as possible to raise funds for these libraries.
Yeah, I mean, last year the country, we marked the 100th anniversary of the legacy of the man himself, Nelson Mandela Madiba, and I'm sure you are planning to continue that. I mean, because it should be an ongoing one. He loved children.
Yes, and if you see his heart for children and his heart for education, it almost enthuses you to question yourself, like, do I have the same heart? In fact, in one of the sculptures with his hand up, the heart is empty. because I believe Mandela died with an empty heart because he left it all for us. So I want to be in that same disposition. When I die empty because I've given all of myself.
Beautiful. So powerful. Thank you very much, Johan Adams. And we wish you and Shout well as you carry on this focus on empowering our children and brightening their future through the libraries, through the power of reading and getting education.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. All the best. Thank you very much there to Johan Adams, one of South Africa's well-known visual artists. Now today.